Hello, Jessica.
Hi. Are you getting started?
I guess so.
No.
They said,
I'm going to get... we're not flipping the script.
Oh, damn it.
Staying here.
I thought I was me in charge.
No. But you are going to talk a lot.
So make sure I articulate.
Articulate and speak into the microphone.
Speak in.
Okay? You ready?
All right, let's go.
Welcome to The Secret Life of Parkinson's, a podcast created by people living with Parkinson's to help break the stigma of a disease no one likes to talk about. Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Krauser and Brian Baker. Okay, let's take a step back. You are a single parent.
Correct.
Who raised your son.
Correct.
And you were diagnosed with Parkinson's when he was 12 years old.
Correct.
And now he's an
22.
adult. Yeah. So there's a lot of other people that are dealing with Parkinson's that don't have a care partner. You're your own care partner, right? So like things that like I can ask Derek for help on, or my kids. I mean, now especially that yours is out of the house, you're on your own.
Mm-hmm.
What are like 4 or 5 things that you deal with as being your own care partner?
You know, it's one of those things that I've wondered myself, am I high functioning because I have to be because there's not somebody there to do stuff for me?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I just high functioning? You know,
because there's all different types of PD.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say high. Is that high functioning? Is that the right word?
I don't know.
It kind of makes you think of.
We can make it up.
But yeah, I mean, there's things I can't. I mean, if I don't get up and feed myself, feed my dogs, and you know, mow my grass, nobody's doing it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
what are like concerns that you have for the future?
I guess it depends. Like, we see how this disease can go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then there's always hope. Well, you know, when you talk to people, they're like, it didn't have to go there. You don't know that for a fact. You're right, we don't.
Mm-hmm.
But we see the worst case scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do I end up in a wheelchair? Do I end up with a walker? Do I end up not being able to take a shower by myself? Yeah, those are all things that we have to, that I think we have to worry about. You know. But like I said, I always go back to, do I have to, am I going to get like that? I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to fight as long as I can to push all that off. Mm-hmm. So,
are there things that that annoy you that I or others talk about, or that we complain about, and you're like, okay, you have somebody living with you and I don't, so quit your bitching?
I don't think so. I mean, like I said, sometimes I think it's a benefit to me, because, like I said, if we're people are doing stuff for you, maybe you know, my son's never been doing it.
No, I mean, no offense to my family, because I love them to death, but no one's doing anything for me. Not yet.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, there's all kinds of. The other thing is, I don't have to. Then the flip side of that, I don't have to justify anybody to me. Hey, I'm gonna take a nap for a few minutes.
Yeah.
You know, or you like. I never felt guilty when I fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I wake up 2 hours later thinking I took a 15-minute nap.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah, it's been 2 hours. You know, the other thing is, I don't have the stress of putting the stress
on somebody else.
On my care partner.
Yeah.
You know, so is that less stressful to me? That, you know, in my head it is.
Yeah, I bet you. I mean, I wonder what that is like. I mean, because I don't have, well, not that I'm stressed, but I do think about a lot how me stepping back and working part-time to help manage my stress.
Mm-hmm. Now that added, you know, financial stress to Derek.
Right. And then I just feel bad.
Yeah.
Even though he's like, don't feel bad. He's like, this is fine. But it still happens.
It's so mental.
Yeah.
You know, even if he says it's fine, is it really fine, or is he just saying it's fine? Mm-hmm. mentally it can be exhausting to you.
Yeah.
Or thinking about that.
I mean, it's, to that point, it's like, I wonder what other PD patients feel, and do they talk about it?
I mean, Steve was just in here before the thing. He said that when he got diagnosed, he didn't even think about that, what the impact was to his wife. And he said after the neighbor or whatever asked him, how she dealing with it, he's like, oh, he came home after, how are you dealing with this?
Yeah.
So are we asking our care partners how they're dealing with it as well?
I doubt it.
Have you asked Derek?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a lot in the beginning. Like that whole first year, like he was learning.
But do you check in just from random time to time, like, hey, Derek, hey, my glitches are getting worse. How are you? Are you okay with these?
Yeah.
Or stuff like that.
Yeah. No.
Or does he check in with you?
He does. Like we try not to make it the subject of.
He's such a loving husband.
He is. No, but I mean, even just like with the kids, I was even thinking about that with like the glitches. Because I do it in front of their friends and I know I'm doing it. And it's like I'm trying so hard to control it. And it's like, I wonder what they all think.
Right.
My kids already know, and their friends have been around me long enough. And it's, again, not that like they're ever like pointing and staring or anything. It's not that. It's just wonder what's going through their mind and what are their thoughts about it. Like, does it scare them? Does it make them uncomfortable?
Your kids or the other kids? Your kids are probably used to it.
They are, but it's like when their friends are around, does that make them uncomfortable? I don't know.
No, I can tell you both that. Both of your kids are like, no, that's just my mom.
Yeah, right. But it's still like deep down, it's like, is it annoying? Because it's annoying to us.
Right.
Like I'm doing it right now, and it's like I just hate it. But yeah, it's like Derek will ask me for sure, like when we're out and I'm very dyskinetic, how that part is feeling. Or when he notices that if we're out and I wasn't dyskinetic, he was like, wow, he's like, you seemed.
Yeah. And do you find yourself when you are like out with Derek someplace and you get disconnected that you feel, I guess, more embarrassed or that you just want to go home too? I mean, I do. I mean, maybe it's part of the thing like.
No, I think I don't know.
When I'm out with Derek and we're having.
What? No, I actually. Oddly enough, it's like if I am like that, I just want to. I don't feel like I need to go home. Like I need to hide away. It's actually the opposite. Like I actually want to tell people that we're sitting with, and I do most of the time. I'm like, as I'm talking, I'm like, just so you know, I'm like, I know I'm moving around a lot. It's just due to my medication. So like, I'm fine. It's just, I know it's annoying probably looking at me wiggling around, and I just put it out there because it's like, just because I remember what it was like watching other people being dyskinetic.
Right.
And I remember thinking to myself, it's like, they know they're doing that, right? And it's like, does it hurt? Is it uncomfortable? Can they stop it? Like, what are they thinking about it? So that's why I'm very vocal with others. But I try not to bring it up all the time just because it's like, if I've already said it once, I don't know. But I think that's a really good question to ask, and I'll do that tonight. But, I mean, I remember it was like probably a year or 2 years ago, we had a really big discussion, Derek and I, just about like things with the kids and with the nonprofit, work, etc. And I was getting annoyed because he wasn't asking about the podcast or wasn't asking like how things were going. And I was like, I try, because I was always trying to bring it up as, hey, like we're doing like, this great thing and da-da-da. Because I was trying to compensate for the fact that I stepped back at work.
Right.
That it's like, but I'm doing so many great things. And so finally he talked to me. He's like, I totally understand. And I love, all the things that you're doing and helping people. He's like, I think it's fantastic. You guys are, making great changes. He's like, and we could talk about it anytime. He's like, but the reason why I don't ask about it a lot, he's like, is because you openly tell me all the time. And he's like, you have to understand. He's like, you see this as like almost like a job, right? He's like, I just see you as my wife that has a neurodegenerative disease.
Right.
And it's like that, I felt horrible. And I think it was just because I didn't look at it that way, because I position what we're doing so much as like, I like take Parkinson's out of my life almost. And it's like, okay, how can we help other people? And
Yeah. Now, remembering back, probably the first year, if not maybe a year and a half, I was diagnosed. It consumed me. Every thought I had was Parkinson's. Every minute, everything, and then just click one day. It's like, no, you don't have to live like this. And once I kind of freed my mind, which I think we talked a little bit about that one of the other podcasts we just did about living within.
living within your old lifestyle.
Yeah, and bringing Parkinson's into your lifestyle versus pushing away. I think once that clicked in my head, and I realized I wasn't enjoying living today because I was so worried about tomorrow and stuff that it just kind of floated away.
Yeah.
And there's so many times now where, especially after the DBS, where a lot of my symptoms won't have gone away or been minimized, that I don't even realize I have it sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I got.
Well, that's when you know things are working.
Yeah. Yeah.
People always say, they're like, how do you know the difference between on and off? It's like,
Yeah. No,
when you don't think about it.
Yeah. Well, and for the longest time, I didn't have an off period. I was just steady, and then when you start hitting those off periods, you're like, oh, this is what they were talking about,
But then that's where I think that's where I love, like, at least being able to talk to you on this podcast and going to the gym to talk with people at the gym, because, it's my kids and Derek live it. I mean, they're living it with me. They see it all the time.
Right.
But it's just like, you don't want to always bring work home and just like.
Well, that, and like you were just talking about, oh, I got pain here. When you go home and tell Derek I got pain here, he doesn't know what he knows. I know what you feel. Like, oh yeah, I got it here, I got it here, I got it back here.
He just knows he has to rub it out.
Yeah. But
yeah, it's like,
that's just the physical aspect. Of the mental aspect of it can be much harder to deal with. And hey, I'm having trouble with this, or I'm having trouble with that, or I can't remember as quick as I used to, or my recall is not, of conversations or people or something like that. Is probably the more like I said, just being able to relate to somebody else that is going through the same thing you are.
There almost needs to be like a training class
Of how to deal with Parkinson's,
or like how to
be a care partner.
No, I mean, but even like for us, like, this, while we want to like, wallow and, be sorry for ourselves at times, it's affecting others around us. And so including them, not all the time, but including them in the conversation of asking, how are they dealing with it?
Yeah.
How are they dealing with the changes that they're seeing? And again, everybody's different. I mean, I'm in a totally different situation with, the fact that we have this podcast and the nonprofit, that it's always talked about in my household with one way or another.
Yeah.
So even I remember Kate told me, she's like, I just wish you wouldn't bring it up all the time. And I get it. It's like that.
But I think as we get further in our diagnosis, most people in our communities or our settings know it anyway. So it's like, let's talk about that. Like Brian, we already know Brian has it.
Yeah.
You don't I have to repeat it 1,000 times a day saying, hey, I have Parkinson's. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's definitely a good question to ask for people to ask the people around them.
Yeah. It goes back to my original question. Because I don't have a choice, am I more high functioning, or am I just more high functioning because my disease is progressing at a slower rate than other people?
Yeah. Because you're doing all the right things.
Because I exercise.
Because you exercise.
Yes.
Oh, just always have to throw that in.
Yes.
Oh, well, you almost made me cry on this episode, and I don't cry.
Yes, I did it. I did. What did you have there? Something out? 4 things that you wrote down. You said something out.
Well, I said 4 to 5 things, of what it's like being your own care partner. So you didn't really give me 4 to 5 things.
Well,
I mean, you said you don't feel like you have the stress of like the stress I feel of the stress I'm giving to Derek.
yeah.
So you don't have that.
At the same time, I don't have the financial backing either.
Right.
So that's
stress on you.
That is stress on me. There's the flip side of that is if I don't work, guess what?
Yep.
I don't work. So there's that aspect of it. The driving can be stressful at times. You've gone through that sometimes with using the luckily enough cruise control and lane assist.
We all need Teslas.
Yes, we've asked Mr. Musk.
Have we?
Yes.
I think we only said it once on the podcast.
Yeah.
But if Parkinson's patients can get Teslas, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah. If you swing that.
What else?
Let's see. The watery eyes.
You don't have anybody to wipe your ass.
Yes, I don't. But like I said, having somebody there to do those types of things, not necessarily wipe your ass, but, to clean up after you, to vacuum up after you, to sweep up after you, to pick up after the dogs, to feed the dog.
Yeah.
Nobody else is doing those things.
Right.
At least yet. Then I'll have to go to a nursing home, and then they'll do them all.
Do you have that set up?
No, I had nothing set up. Yes.
What would it take to get you to set things up?
Probably a meeting with an attorney and.
No, I know, but would it take if we had if there was a Parkinson symposium and they had almost like a career fair, how
I can almost see that would almost make sense. Like just to meet and talk to attorneys, estate planning, and to have a conversation with somebody for disability. Long-term care, short-term care. What options are there options out there even that we can even qualify for? That you can get. Now, those are all good questions.
Yeah, maybe we'll have not a career fair. What would I call
Parkinson's career? Parkinson's fair.
What's your Parkinson's career like? Because our careers are cut short.
Yeah,
and it's like what? So, what does the rest of life look like?
Yes. The joys.
I think it'll be good.
You can't worry about it.
No.
I mean,
that's probably why you haven't done anything yet.
No,
you're not worrying about it.
No, honestly, you go out there, you stress over what it's going to be like 10 years, 5 years, 4 years from now, next year, and you go outside and you hit by a bus walking across the street.
Yeah. Well, that's sometimes the conversation that I'll have with Derek is, I'm 5.5 years in, and I definitely saw a difference coming into my 5th year of being diagnosed.
That's when I think that's when I kind of hit that.
Yeah, and I don't. So it's I think it's and then you're ahead of me, so it's I can see potential steps, and it's you're still active in doing things and working and traveling and all that stuff, but it's how much of it are you enjoying versus not,
right?
Or how much of it gives you stress and anxiety. So I'm always on him about I know we're, we need to, we do, but continue to live in the now,
right?
Because nobody knows what's going to happen.
No,
I think somebody wrote on
with the stress you put him under, he could go like that.
But that's why somebody wrote in a comment, it's live like you were dying, and we played that song. Yeah. But it's living this year as if it were your last, because nobody knows what their future holds.
Nobody knows.
Man, this got doom and gloomy. Sorry.
Nah, it's not. No, let's focus on positive.
I know.
That you're saying live like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah. So what are we doing tonight?
Yeah.
It's Friday. Yeah, but no, I think that's a good note to leave off on. And that's for anybody. People who are patients watching, or care partners, or I know a lot of patients, adult children. So it would be our age. Like they're constantly worried too about not just their parent who's the patient, but their parent who's the care partner.
Yeah.
So they're now worrying about both. And so that's a whole nother thing that I'd love to dive into sometime this year.
It can be a lot of stress. We've seen it. It is a lot of stress on the care partners, which then it turns around and spins in more stress on the patient, which makes all of our symptoms even worse.
Yeah. So
In your last 30 seconds.
In your last 30 seconds, I'll leave you with this. Take care of yourself. Diet, exercise, move around, meditate so that you can live as stress-free as possible, whether you have a care partner or not. Find a community because that really, really helps, I think, with the overall stress and anxiety that we all feel. And you can find different resources, as Brian was talking about, an elder lawyer or trying to, signing up for Social Security or retirement or whatever that may look like for long-term, short-term care. And don't forget to ask your care partner, how are they doing with things? So with that, we'll see you next time.